I'm going to be talking about the R10. This is specifically the first generation R10, and this is for updating the firmware expiry date, what we call the legacy passcode, and then we're going to do the firmware update. The required cabling hardware for this little exercise, we basically have two options. So option one would be the OEM cable, part number 80751. At least that's the current part number. And this is just the standard, R10 receiver that has the USB, like the inline USB. So you can essentially connect direct from the R10 to your PC. Option two would be kind of the old school method, the Trimble OEM cable 32960, which is essentially just a standard 7-pin LEMO to a DB9. This would also require a serial to USB converter, because pretty much every PC that I've seen recently does not have a DB9 or an RS-232 port directly on it. So the option two, this I've definitely run into some scenarios where option one has not worked. So I don't know if there's been a Windows update that's stopping the option one OEM cable for working. It's been kind of hit or miss. So option two is a kind of a good backup. So if you try to use the option one cable and it's not working, then we just go to option two, which I've had to do a couple of times. The required Office software for this exercise, this is kind of a two-part. So Trimble WinFlash Utility, we actually have this posted or uploaded on our website. It's a little hard to find on Trimble's website now, so you can see the link there. So if you navigate there, you can download WinFlash. So this is where we're going to update the expiry date for the firmware, what we call the legacy passcode. And then the Trimble Installation Manager. So this is where we're going to actually upgrade the firmware itself. You can use WinFlash to upgrade the firmware. It's a little difficult and a little time consuming. And Trimble WinFlash it's an older program, but for the first generation R10, that's what we have to use to update the expiry date. And then we're going to move on to the Installation Manager. The last piece of information that we're going to need is the password from the extended warranty certificate. So in this case, this is a firmware maintenance agreement. So this certificate is either going to be emailed directly to you, or we at Frontier have access to these certificates. So this will have both the password, which that's what we're going to need for WinFlash, and of course the serial number is on there as well. And you'll see the expiration date. So that's what we're trying to update in WinFlash before we can actually upgrade the firmware. So now I'm going to go in and do I have a live recording of this complete process. Okay, so we are with first generation R10s. We are going to upgrade the warranty code, and in order to do that we need WinFlash, and I have a serial to USB converter with a standard 7-pin LEMO to 9-pin connector, and I have that plugged into my R10 right now. And what I need to do is figure out what COM port is being used, because as you can see here, I've got a lot of different COM ports. So I pulled my device manager open, and this is the A10 USB to serial bridge. That's my cable, so it's using COM port 70. And that's what I'm going to have to do. It says PC serial port. I need to go down to COM port 70. You're probably not going to have this many COM ports. And this is Trimble Survey Integrated Receiver. And what we're looking for, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, update receiver options. We're going to go next. And an option key would be like, adding like the transmit upgrade or adding GLONASS. That's not really, it's not on the R10, but an option key versus a legacy password. So this is how we're going to update the firmware expiry date. And I need to get, so for the first generation R10, which is the last of the GNSS receivers that requires us to do this, when you purchase an extended warranty, you're going to get an extended warranty certificate. So I need to verify the serial number. This is 1509, not that one. So this is the serial number that's in question. And this password is our update for our legacy. So I'm just going to copy this. And then I'm going to paste it in here. And we have to make sure that it's formatted correctly. And we have the dashes in there. So this is just how it appears on that certificate. And we're going to go next. I'm going to go finish. So it's going to connect up to the receiver. And it should give us a successful notice when it's complete. So what this is going to do is update the expiry date for firmware to the 16th of May, 2023. And this is technically, like a serial connection, so just be patient with it. Okay, it's establishing a connection. It's thinking about connecting. So it's rebooting, so it already applied it, and it should give us a successful notice. Okay, it says it was successful, and if you wanted to check and verify, you could go into verify receiver options. Connect back up. And you can upgrade firmware in here. I don't recommend that using WinFlash. WinFlash is an older program, and it can take a long time. So I recommend using the web UI and getting the TIMG file, from Trimble's website or from the offline mode of Trimble Installation Manager, or just using the Trimble Installation Manager to upgrade the firmware. But in order to upgrade the firmware, we first have to make sure the expiry date for the firmware is up to date. So this should give us that same date for the expiry for the warranty. Okay, it says firmware option enabled 5/20/23. So that was successful. So now we're ready to upgrade the firmware, which I'm going to start a new video. Well, no, I'll just keep this one going. Let's reboot the receiver, and we're going to escape out of WinFlash. Okay, we can go ahead and exit. Now I'm going to open up. I'm currently on the internet here, so I'm going to run the installation manager. It's on receiver. And then we're going to have to pick that same COM70 when we connect. Port 70. So it's going to connect up. It's going to read the expiry date of 2023. So it's going to allow us to install whatever the latest firmware is for the first generation R10 in this case. Again, please be patient with this serial connection. It's not nearly as fast as the direct USB connection. So getting license file, so it's going onto the receiver to verify the firmware expiry date for the warranty, which we just updated. Okay, the latest release is 5.53. Okay, so it's connected up. We're going to install, in this case, the latest release. We're going to go install. It's going to give us a little prompt. It's just verifying, because it is going to wipe the memory. So if you have any raw data files in there, going to make sure that you have those off there. And okay, and this process is going to take, on my computer, 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm not going to bore you, so I'm going to stop this video. So once it gets all the way done, it's going to reboot, and you are finished upgrading the firmware. So that is it. Thank you.